Kalimera.
Amen.
I'm sure that you have the same question that I do. Why is Jesus so frustrated with his disciples? They made a good effort to cure the boy and they weren't able. Why is he answer in such a strange way? O faithless and perverse generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear with you? Bring him here to me. And all we can say is that Christ must have felt so sad that the human beings that he was trying to teach, and I think by those words we also mean us. That is to say, he's teaching us too. How is it that we can't seem to get what Christ is teaching us and we can't seem to put it into practice? Why are our lives so full of difficulties and struggles and challenges, and why did we turn everywhere we turn we find another obstacle and another difficulty? What have we missed? Why is life so difficult for us? And you might say, well, it's just God's will. Some say that. But I think what we can learn, and I know he's not with us any longer, but I want to mention Alexios Demos right now, if you don't mind me saying so, Panayota. Alexios, what was this man? You remember him. He always with the bastuni. He came to church and with great strength, actually, and planting his garden until his last days, and he died in his 90s. But he lived through a very difficult time, the time in Greece when there was not the Civil War. Before that, he lived through the invasion of the Germans, the World War II. And during that time, in his village, many people were put to death by the Germans, and by some miracle he escaped. But instead of living his life as a broken person, which he certainly could have, and with every right, he had every right to be that person, he took a different position. He took the position that he was happy to be alive, that he felt that God had given him a great miracle to give him life, and he was going to hold his head high and glorify God at every opportunity. At every opportunity. And I think that when we see this boy and he's so troubled, and the father, of course, so troubled, of course we feel sympathy for them. Couldn't someone to heal them? Why can't the disciples heal them? But if only we learn to live a life of gratitude in every difficulty, many times that difficulty becomes a blessing to us. Now, Christ obviously didn't think that the demon was a blessing. He cast him out. But on the other hand, struggling with a demon isn't necessarily not a blessing. If we have some struggle in our life, some temptation that we struggle with, and it weighs us down and it cripples us and it trips us up again and again, what's wrong with struggling? What's wrong with fighting it? Is there anything wrong with that? You say, yes, but I always fall, so I don't want to struggle anymore. I'm done with struggle. I'm just going to do whatever the temptation tells me to do, and I'm done with that. I'm not even going to debate it anymore. I'm just going to accept it. That's the new me. That's not how we do things as Christians. We instead take the temptation and we say, how do I struggle with this temptation? How do I learn from it? How can I understand who I am better? How can I understand the things that have wounded me better? How can I understand my deepest needs better? How can I learn, in one other way of putting it, how much I need Christ in my life? We don't always do that, do we? When struggles come our way, we quickly fall apart and we give up. But we should learn from today's gospel that that's not the way to deal with difficult situations. It is to glorify God even when things are not going our way, and of course also to turn to him and say to him, Lord, you can heal this situation. Please do so. And if we want to take it one more step, Christ told us to have faith. And he told us that if we just had a little bit of faith, we can even take a mountain and tell it to throw itself into the sea, and it would do that. So let's throw away all those mountains of woes and worries and struggles that we have accumulated and cast them into the sea of Christ's love. Amen. Opos hypo tu kratus upante philatomeni, sidoxan anapempomen, to patrik to iog to iopnevmatim, nin keain, Jesus